Okay, I believe that we are online. I want to welcome all of you to our Sunday night Eat Chocolate event. It's a Lenten event, and you may have heard already that our theme for this season is Eat Chocolate, because we have already given up so much this year. We are focusing this year on what it means to be mindful of God's blessings and to rejoice in the gifts of God and to delight and savor in all that God has for us. So that's our focus during Lent. I don't want to say too much about that right now, except to say that our word for this week is mindful or mindfulness. Every Sunday night, we are going to come together and have some fun with our words of the week, which you can find in our devotional guide, and focus on some different activities to help us experience this word. This week, our word is mindful, and we have a treat. We have a couple of guests with us today who are really going to help us understand a little bit more about this word, including learning some yoga moves. So I'm not going to say too much else about that. I'm going to call upon Keisha Bumpers and Sandra King to introduce our guest.
Thanks, Michael. I'm glad to introduce to you Tiffany Crow. I met Tiffany somewhere between 2 and 3 years ago when I started working out at Hendricks. Laura Boyd, who actually is from our church, invited me into a group, and I enjoyed it so much I kept going back. And the wonderful thing about Tiffany's groups is, for one, she challenges you according to your abilities. But the other thing that I love is she is so motivating, and just the positive energy that she brings to a class makes it so much fun, and makes you feel so good, not only physically, but just mentally and all that goes on there. So Tiffany, I'm so excited to have you. I've missed not getting to work out with you, so I'm ready to be back. And I'm going to let Tiffany. For you too. I'm going to let Tiffany tell you a little bit more about her credentials and qualifications and the other things that she does.
Thank you so much, Keisha. Oh my gosh, I've missed you terribly. It was fun during this whole time that we were kind of all in, and I would drive down the street and I would see Keisha sitting outside with her computer on her front porch. And I even saw Keisha outside one time with bands around her legs, exercising down the sidewalk. And I was like, yeah, that's my girl. I was so excited. So way to be mindful, Keisha, of staying in practice during this time. I have been teaching in the fitness industry for 26 years, and currently I teach at Hendricks College. I've been there for about 8 years, and one of the classes that I teach there is called Mindfulness Relaxation. So I've really had a fun time learning about mindfulness and different things that we just stop and be still and just be mindful of the moment that we're in. And I kind of wanted to start out with giving you the definition of mindfulness. The definition of mindfulness is a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment. And I think that's one that we really want to do right now, especially during the time of Lent, just being in the present moment that God has given us and being thankful for that moment. The latter part of that definition is while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations used as a therapeutic technique. So I know that we're going to do some yoga later, but I'm also going to teach you one little technique that can help you just calm yourself and feel like you're in the present moment. And that's what we want to do. So I just think it's one of my favorite sayings is today is a gift from God, and that is why it's called the present. So there we go. Being in the present moment, that's a gift that God has given to us. We don't need to be concerned and worried about the past or what's going to happen in the future, but just being in that present moment that God has given to us and taking joy in the simple pleasures of life. And that's one thing that Michael was kind of talking about earlier. Like just, I teach a lot about nutrition and just being mindful of the food that you eat instead of like going in the pantry and stuffing a bunch of cookies in your mouth. Like, take that cookie, take a nice bite. Maybe I should say fruit since I'm a personal trainer and fitness instructor. So let's go to a piece of fruit. So you take that piece of fruit and you just enjoy it. Like, enjoy the things that have been given to you. When you go to the grocery store to buy your food, be thankful for the means that got you there. Just being very thankful for the simple pleasures in life that God has given to us, I think is just so important. I want to teach you a little technique that kind of brings us to this calming sense, this calming state of being in the present moment. So if you are sitting in a chair or the couch, you can stay there. If you would like, you can sit on the floor. One way to do this exercise is you can sit with your back up against a wall so that your back is nice and tall. You don't want it to feel forced, but you want to sit nice and tall, and you want your ears above the shoulders, shoulders above the hips. So your spine is in this nice, tall, straight alignment. I'm going to rest my palms on my thighs, and I'm just going to have my hands up as my arms are resting there. And we're going to do a little breathing technique. What we're going to do when you inhale, I'll need you to inhale through your nose. And then when you exhale, I want you to open your mouth and relax your jaw. So you're not puckered up while you're exhaling, but you're going to inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, I want you to drop and relax the jaw. We're going to inhale for 4 counts starting off, and then we're going to exhale slowly for 8 counts. You can do this with your eyes open. I like to do it with my eyes closed, so you can pick which one you feel the most comfortable with. So go ahead and sit in a nice tall position. You can close your eyes if that makes you feel comfortable. I want you to slowly inhale through your nose for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 8, relaxing the mouth and the jaw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, slowly inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep slowly breathing as I explain a few more things to you. Just continue that nice, slow breathing. The next step we're going to do is we're going to slowly inhale 4 counts, hold our breath for 7 counts, and then exhale for the 8. Remembering to relax the jaw in your mouth as you exhale. Here we go. Slowly inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue that nice, slow breathing. Sitting up nice and tall. Being aware of the present moment that you're in, the mindfulness of this moment. You're a child of God, fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalms 139 tells us how we were knitted together in our mother's womb. God loves us so much. Just know that you're a child of God, fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalms 46:10 talks about, be still and know that I'm God. Be in his presence right now as you're taking the time to slowly inhale and exhale. Being aware of the beauty that's around you. Slowly inhaling through the nose. Slowly exhaling through the mouth. God has given us this beautiful, special time. And as you're sitting here just relaxing, I just want to give you another visual. Sometimes when you're going on a hike, if you've ever been on a hike, a lot of times you're looking down at your feet, just thinking about getting to that destination. But once you stop and you can feel the breeze or the warmth of the sun, you can hear the birds, and you're taking in the beautiful nature that's around you. That's being in the present moment. It's great to be on a journey that God has given to you. It's great to be looking forward to the next thing that's going on in life, but stop and take in the beautifulness that He's given you in that moment. When you're taking time to relax, your brain is like your personal secretary. It's keeping up with things all the time. And a secretary or a personal assistant needs a break too. So your brain needs to take a little break. So try to just take that time to relax and just be in the present moment. Thank you, God, so much for this time that you've given us. And thank you for the present moment. And help us to always remember the gift that you have given us, dear God. We love you and thank you for this time. Amen. So hopefully I was able to teach you a little bit about mindfulness and give you one technique that really helps me and my students to just take time to breathe and be still. And I think next we get to do some fabulous yoga. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tiffany. And if you'll hang out for a minute, there may be some questions. I have a couple of questions, so that would be great. Now we are going to turn to Jaymie Leigh, and I invite Sandra to introduce her.
Hey everybody, I'm going to introduce Jaymie Leigh to y'all. I have had the privilege of knowing Jaymie Leigh since I was like 5 years old. So when I was when we talked about mindfulness and this segment, we were throwing around people that we knew that practiced mindfulness. And I thought of Jaymie Leigh because she owns a studio in Morrilton called Peace of Mind Yoga. And I have seen her through the years, how she's been practicing mindfulness and how she, not only with her studio, but with going out in the community and teaching others. So I thought that she would be a great addition. So I'm going to turn it over to Jaymie Leigh.
Hello, I'm so excited and thankful to be a part of this. This is such a wonderful thing to bring to people, to share with others. I think what we just learned about just being still and breathing and allowing your brain to take a break is so important. In our lives today, we are, for the most part, go, 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 rush here, rush there, and we forget to just stop and breathe. The biggest thing, taking a deep breath. How many of you have actually taken a deep breath today? So I'm going to guess probably not many, because we don't think about it. But if you can start to kind of bring that into your day, you will become more aware of it, more mindful of it, and you'll recognize when you need to take a deep breath. So if you're watching right now, I just want to encourage you to take a couple of really deep breaths. Just breathe in nice and slowly, and exhale slowly. Just what we just did, the breathing is always so good. That's how I always start my classes. Been teaching yoga for 8 years, and I've been practicing yoga for about 20 years. So I'm always learning something, always growing in my practice, and I'm so thankful for that. So, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have stopped to think, oh, I need a deep breath. But now I recognize when my shoulders start to creep up to my ears and my jaw starts to clench, I'm a lot more mindful of that. So instead of an hour later, after being like that, maybe just a couple of minutes, you know, with the tense jaw and the shoulders raised, I recognize that a lot quicker. So that's one thing that I think has really benefited, you know, my life and my relationships with my children or my husband or my coworkers or even just myself or, you know, with our Heavenly Father, taking that time in the morning to just breathe and relax and connect. So connecting in that relationship and then connecting to yourself and then going out into the world and doing whatever we need to. So we got some really great breathing, and now I'm going to show you a couple of moves that you can do at home. You don't have to come into a yoga studio. You don't have to go into a gym. We've all kind of had the brakes put on us for a while now, so we've had to learn ways to do these things at home. So I want to show you a couple of things that you can do at home. Okay. So I've got my chair. If you're sitting on your couch, in a chair, at your dining room table, at your computer, you know, whatever it is, we are so working on the computers and on the phone, so we're rounded a lot, right? We're pulling forward. We have to remember to open up. That opens up our heart space, opens up to better opportunities out around us. And so we want to think about pulling the shoulders back. When we pull the shoulders back and let the shoulders drop down, we take the top of the head and we start to reach it up toward the ceiling. So the neck and the spine are really nice and long and straight. So you can just take a couple of moments. You can reach your arms up and just get a stretch through the sides of your body. So reach and think about reaching up through your fingertips. Bring your hands together and let your hands come down in front of your heart. So we're going to do that, very simple movement, but we're going to connect the breath. So we're going to breathe in, reach the arms all the way up, and then breathe out as you take your hands down in front of your heart. We'll do that again. Breathe in, and then breathe out. And one more time. Breathe in, and breathe out. So just that little bit of movement kind of wakes the body up, wakes the mind up. One of my favorite quotes is, the body benefits from movement. The mind benefits from stillness. So in yoga, we're able to get both of those, which is why I love it so much. All right, let's try another one with the side body. You can take your hand down on your chair or your couch or wherever you are, and then you're going to reach your other arm all the way up and reach, reach, reach. You can start to find a side bend. So you stretch over to the side. And then you come back up to your center and you let it go. We're going to do the other side. So we reach up and then we find that side bend. Back up. And we're going to let the arm drop. And so now we connect it with the breath. We breathe in. Side bend, breathe out, back to your center. So breathe in, up and over, and then breathe out, back to your center. So we're going to do that a couple more times. Breathe in, and breathe out. One more time. All right, so if you're in your chair, or if you want to stand up, of course you can stand up. We're going to just pull the shoulders back. So you're going to reach back behind you. Think about your shoulders hugging your spine. You want to reach back. You want to draw your belly button in toward your spine. So you're engaging your belly muscles, but you're opening up your heart. You can reach your arms back. You can interlace your fingers if that's in your practice, and you can draw down and lift up. So when you're doing this, I want you to think about the core being engaged and your feet staying flat on your mat or on the floor or in your shoes. If you have shoes on, that's perfectly fine too, so that you can stay grounded. So we'll do it again. Breathe in, reach back, pull in the core. If you want to interlace and go down. And then exhale to release. Move the shoulders around a little bit, and we'll do it again. Breathe in, reach back. As you exhale, draw down. Let's hold it for an inhale. And exhale, release. Your shoulders around. Okay. So these are pretty basic moves that we do in yoga. When you practice yoga, you don't have to be twisted up like a pretzel, which I know a lot of the times people see that on Instagram or Facebook, and they think, oh, no way, am I doing that? That is not what yoga really is. If your physical body gets to that point, then okay. But maybe it's not about so much the physical body, it's your mental body, your emotional body, and so you're working with that as you go through your yoga practice. So I'm going to show you another one. You know that we hold tension in our neck and shoulders. That's pretty common knowledge for the most part. When I was talking about shoulders coming here, we are like this a lot. But one place that we don't necessarily think about holding tension or stress is in the hips. And we actually do hold a lot of tension and stress in the hips. So I'm going to show you one that we can do to kind of help release that while you're sitting on your couch or at your computer. You might scoot yourself toward the edge of your chair. You got your feet flat, you're sitting nice and tall. And then you're going to take one foot and you're going to cross it on top of that knee. Now, if this is not quite accessible to you, what you can do is stretch out one leg and cross down below, because you're still going to get a stretch. So maybe we're here, or maybe we're here. Either way is perfectly fine. So you've got your foot and it's flexed, protecting the joint. We're sitting tall. And you may already feel a stretch in the hip. And that's okay. So if you do, you would hold here and take a few deeper rounds of breath. When you take that deep breath, it helps the body to soften, helps the body to relax. So a couple of breaths. If you want to deepen the stretch, you can start to hinge forward, and you'll feel that stretch intensify a little bit. Take a deep breath in, and then you'll back up. So release this foot. If we do one side, we got to do the other side. We got to stay even. So you can cross down below. That's where we are tonight. Or you can cross over the knee. And you may already feel the stretch here. Perfectly fine. Take a couple of breaths. If you want, you can start to hinge forward. And as you do this, maybe take note of how does this hip feel compared to this hip? Are they about the same? Or do you find it a little more difficult to stretch on one side or the other? So that's one way you can be mindful with your yoga practice. Paying attention, being aware of how the body feels as it moves into these different positions and postures. Release. So when we're practicing yoga, it is super important to be aware and to be mindful of how the body is feeling. We may come in one day and be ready to go and have a really energized practice, but we may come in the very next day and just really need a very gentle practice where we just lay on the mat. Maybe we just need to lay there and breathe, and that's okay. But being aware of what the body and the mind need is so important. It gets forgotten. We forget to check in with ourselves. So finding a little bit of time to be mindful with yourself can benefit you in so many ways. So thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope that just out of, a few of those stretches, you could find something that would feel good to your body. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jaymie Leigh. And I will tell you, I really do feel better. I sit here and moved a little bit, and it really does make a difference. So thank you. And Tiffany, thank you. If you want to come back online, you're welcome to do that as well. We do have a couple of questions in the Q&A, and I'll share those with you. But yeah, I do want to say once again, thank you. It is good for us to be mindful. I might just say a quick word that sometimes we separate the mind from the body. I mean, we think dualistically in that way, and we think that they're separate. Biblically, they are not, though. They are connected. Mind, spirit, soul, body are all interconnected, and all are gifts of God. And it is good for us to be very mindful of that. And that leads us to one of the questions. What are the health benefits of mindfulness and yoga? And either or both of you can jump in.
Jaymie, Leigh, we may probably have the same answers, but it helps reduce stress a lot. It increases alertness. It can boost your immune system. It can calm the nervous system. So a lot of times, if you deal with anxiety, if you feel stressed, even depression, just taking time to be mindful, take those deep breaths, kind of like Jaymie Leigh was just saying, just stopping to breathe. Sometimes we just don't stop to breathe and to just take that moment. And I think from a Christian perspective, just being aware of the thankfulness of what God has given us also, and for the moment that he's given us. But there are a lot of health benefits that it can help to reduce stress and anxiety and depression, boost your immune system. There's a lot of good health benefits to doing this.
Yeah, thank you. Jaymie Leigh, do you have anything to add to that? Or?
I actually 100% agree. I think
okay, thank you.
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you. For those of you who are on Facebook, I do invite you to go to the devotional booklet that we've put out for Lent, and the devotions this week are on mindfulness. There's some great devotions on what this word means, and to be mindful is more than just knowledge. It's more than just knowing facts. It is to be attentive and aware. And that does bring health benefits, spiritual health, physical health. So thank you for outlining those. Both of you talked about breathing, and Tiffany, you gave us some time frames to that: 4 seconds, 7 seconds, and 8 seconds. I was wondering if there's any significance to those particular numbers, or why did you pick those numbers?
Yes, I need to go back to my books, and if there's any scientific people out there, I may not explain this exactly right, but the vagus nerve, there's a sympathetic system and a parasympathetic system that it kind of helps control and bring that in when you do that timed breathing, which helps calm the body down and helps to reduce stress. So there actually is physical things that happen within our body as we do that timed breathing, which, like you've said, God has given, made our bodies and has made this beautiful body of ours that we can actually, through these practices, help calm ourselves down a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Jaymie Leigh, you might can explain that a little better. I was trying to go back to the science days, and if anybody is scientific, they may be like, not right, but it is something kind of like that.
You did a good job. It's that fight or flight, that kind of breathing in, and then as you're doing the counting and you're breathing, it's helping to literally calm your nervous system. So that's exactly what it is.
Jaymie Leigh, I loved the image of opening up your heart. Yeah. That's a beautiful, beautiful image and a great way to think about that. I believe Keisha has a question.
Yeah, I actually have a couple questions. One is, so if I'm sitting in a chair all day working at my computer, how often might you recommend that I take time to do a little stretching or get up and walk around, or whatever the case might be, as far as just for my body? But also, I think but also your recommendation as far as just taking a few seconds away from our computers or what our mind is thinking about to refresh and restart. And maybe that makes us more productive later. So I don't know if you have any recommendations on that. The other thing is I'm curious about is how each of you came to a point where this became something that was really important to you, because obviously you study these things and teach these things. So I'm curious a little bit about your story and how you came to this.
Well, I think as recommendations go for someone who's sitting at a computer all day, I think the more you start to practice these mindful activities, you will start to become aware of yourself, and you'll start to feel that twinge in your shoulder, and you'll think, oh, I need to get up. Like, I need to stretch my shoulders. I need to walk around. For me, I mean, if I'm sitting at a computer for 30 minutes, that's a long time for me to sit and type, and your head's falling forward, and it's putting pressure on your neck. And so for me, I don't like to sit at a computer. Like it doesn't feel good to my body. So, every 30 minutes to an hour, I would suggest at least get up and go get a drink of water. It doesn't have to be anything major, but just can move your body in another direction. So, do you think the same thing, Tiffany? Do you have the time? I don't know.
Well, I was thinking actually more along 30 minutes, but even 15, like the motion that Jaymie Leigh did, just like moving your arms up and down. Another thing to open up your chest, because we're at our computers, we're driving our cars, we're on our phones, we're always hunched forward. So you could just place your hands behind your head, and that just opens up. Literally, if you do that and you just pull those hands up right here, it opens you up, and then you could just turn side to side right here. You could turn and grab the back of your chair. You can roll your shoulders. You can drop your chin down, kind of side to side. Simple movements like that. But being a fitness instructor, I'm always like, get those endorphins going. Get up and do a few jumping jacks, do a few squats, do a few lunges. Because, that will get your heart pumping, which is your cardiovascular system. And those endorphins are phenomenal. And they can really make you feel so much better. So, I'm like, crank it up a little bit, get up and do 10 jumping jacks. That would really make a big difference. Or just like standing up and sitting down, standing up and sitting down. Like those are kind of squats. So do, 10 of those every 30 minutes. But like roll your ankles around, roll your wrist around, just little movements for the whole body. Think whole body.
That's good.
Thank you.
Good. Your wrist, yeah.
Thank you. Your
fingers. It's just like you said, the whole, yes, absolutely, the whole body. You want me to give you a little bit of my story that you're asking us to do?
Sure. Yes.
I've been practicing for a long time. Just because I've been practicing for a long time doesn't mean a whole lot. I'm still learning all the time. I still, I love taking training, getting that knowledge. But I just was kind of just not in the best place, I guess, when I first took a class. It wasn't a horrible place. It just wasn't where I knew I should be or wanted to be. And I remember taking this class, and it was actually in Conway that I took my very first yoga class. And when I left there, I thought, I'm gonna feel like that all the time. And I just felt so good. The breathing and the moving, getting the oxygen all through my body. I guess I had been, doing those things, and it just felt so good to me that I wanted to feel like that. So I continued to practice, and several years down the road, I was searching. I wanted to be able to teach because it had helped me so much. I wanted to be able to share it. And everything I was finding was, far away. I had a young little baby, and I couldn't leave him for that long. And I prayed about it, and I prayed about it, and it probably wasn't the very next day, but it was pretty soon after I searched it again, and it pulled up a place in Maumelle that would give you just like a level 1 training. That I could take that level 1 training and teach. And so it was definitely a God-given thing for me in my life when that happened. And I feel like it's continued to be a God-given thing. I try to always pray before every class I have. I try to pray about the decisions I make with the studio. And it's been a gift, and hopefully it's been a gift for other people. I think it was what God wanted me to do. Now, how long He's going to want me to do it, I don't know. But I've been doing it. I'll continue to do it until He decides to change my direction, I guess.
Thank you, Jaymie Leigh. That is inspiring. I appreciate you sharing your story. One of the questions was in the chat was, how can people get a hold of you if they want to take classes? So you can answer that now, or I can say you can definitely call the church. Keisha, Sandra, they obviously take your classes, so they can make those connections as well. But you can also say more about that if you'd like to.
I have social media. It's a Facebook and an Instagram page of the yoga studio, which I post our classes and updates on things that we're doing. So that's really how I share most of my information. I do have an email. I can put it in the comments when we're done if you want me to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would be happy to share my info too. At Hendrix right now with COVID, before we could allow anybody to come into our classes, we have classes for students. They're called PAC classes. It's kind of like college PE that they have to graduate. And before we could have other people come in, but right now with COVID, they're not allowing anybody to come into the classes except for students. But when this is all over, it's only $5 to come to a class, and there's tons of classes that are offered, but I do have a few openings. I do personal training there also, and we do some groups. Like Keisha has been a part of this, so if anybody's interested in doing a little personal training, I do have a few openings in some groups, so I'd be happy to share that with you. And Keisha has my information, but I'll also put an email or something in the comments below. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks to both of you, and thanks for all of you who have been participating in this. We do want to feel better physically, spiritually, emotionally. I think all of us have that desire somewhere deep within us, and you have given us some great resources and clues for how we can be more aware of that deep desire. And some things that we can do about that. So thank you so much. Next week, our word is awe. And we are going to have somebody showing us how to take beautiful photos, how to be aware of our surroundings and take pictures. So that should be fun as well. After awe, some of our other words are glory, rejoice, delight, extravagance. We are going to have a lot of fun with this series. Tiffany, Jaymie Leigh, thank you so much for your stories, for your insights. Keisha, Sandra, thank you as well for being a part of this. Friends, many blessings as we go forth into this week to be more mindful of the present, of the gifts that God has given us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.